If Tinder had a warning label, mine in 2017 should have read, "Caution, contains high expectations and a dangerously inflated ego." That year I was 24, living off caffeine, takeout noodles, and the misguided belief that my charm alone could carry me through life. Dating apps were my stage, and I treated every match like an opening night performance. Swipe right on me, and you were in for a show, witty texts, a carefully curated playlist link, and maybe even a poorly lit selfie of me pretending to read a book I hadn't opened in years. That's when Claire appeared. Brown hair that caught light like it had a contract with the sun. Eyes the shade of coffee right before you ruin it with too much sugar. Her profile bio simply read, "Not looking for a pen pal. Surprise me." Challenge accepted. Our first chat was nothing short of digital fireworks. We traded sarcastic jabs like seasoned boxers. Her, "So what's your most controversial opinion?" Me, "Pineapple belongs on pizza and in my heart." Her, bold, brave, wrong. In 2 days we'd already planned our first date, Friday night, 7 p.m., at a tiny hole-in-the-wall taco place that I swore by. Friday arrived. I dressed like a man who'd just discovered what an iron was. The tacos would be good, the banter better, and I was certain she'd be the plot twist my love life needed. At 6:45 p.m., I texted her, "I'm grabbing a table." At 6:55 p.m., no reply. At 7:10 p.m., still nothing. At 7:25 p.m., I convinced myself she'd been in a minor fender bender and was valiantly crawling to the restaurant. At 7:45 p.m., my tacos arrived. The only thing worse than being stood up is being stood up with 2 tacos that suddenly taste like betrayal. By 8 p.m., my phone pinged, not from her, but from a push notification reminding me to drink water. Thanks, I phoned. Claire had ghosted me. Not a "hey, something came up" ghosting. A vanish into the ether like and urban legend ghosting. I spent the next week oscillating between anger and delusion. Anger, who does that? Delusion, maybe she lost her phone in a freak bird attack. Eventually, I stopped checking Tinder entirely. I threw myself into work, late-night video games, and a very ill-advised attempt to grow a beard. Spoiler, it came in patchy enough to qualify as modern art. A few months later, I started dating someone else, Maya. She was sweet, dependable, and into the same indie bands I pretended to like. Our relationship lasted 2.5 years, which in modern dating years is basically a silver anniversary. But over time, comfort turned into routine, routine into boredom, and boredom into a breakup. Neither of us had the energy to dramatize. By early 2021, I was single again. Older, slightly wiser, and entirely unprepared for what fate or Tinder's sadistic algorithm was about to serve me, because that's when Claire reappeared. Asterisk. It was a Tuesday night. The kind where you sit on your couch surrounded by empty snack wrappers and the haunting glow of Netflix asking, "Are you still watching?" As if it's judging your life choices. I had been single for about 3 months, which in my world was the perfect amount of time to decide, you know what? I'm emotionally stable enough to date again. Spoiler, I wasn't, so I re-downloaded Tinder. Because clearly I hadn't learned from 2017. And there she was. Claire, same brown hair, same eyes, slightly different bio. Not looking for a pen pal. Surprise me. Still don't like pineapple on pizza. The audacity. For 5 full minutes. I stared at her profile picture like it was a photo of Bigfoot. Equal parts disbelief and the urge to call someone else into the room to confirm I wasn't hallucinating. I could have just swiped left, moved on, spared myself the trouble. But where's the fun in that? I swiped right. Because deep down, I'm the kind of idiot who believes in fate. Match. Instantly. Oh, so now she's available? Now she has time to swipe right? My pride wanted to ignore her, but my curiosity staged a coup and typed out, "Me. Hey, remember ghosting me at that taco place 4 years ago?" Just wondering if you're still on your streak." Her reply came 3 minutes later. "Claire." My God, I barely remember that. Was it that bad? I read it 3 times, my brain doing cartwheels trying to process the fact that she had just barely remembered what was, to me, the emotional equivalent of being hit by a bus. Me. It was memorable enough for me to keep the receipt. "Claire, well, I'm here now. Want to try again?" If my life were a movie, this would be the part where the audience yells, "Don't do it." And I promptly do it. We set a date for Friday, the same day of the week as last time, because apparently I like tempting fate. This time, I didn't pick the taco place. I chose a coffee shop, neutral territory. Less chance of culinary betrayal. When she walked in, I noticed 2 things. 1, she looked even better than I remembered. 2, my brain had decided to replay our entire 2017 text thread like a cruel highlight reel. "Hey," she said, sliding into the seat across from me. "Hey," I replied, gripping my coffee like it was an emotional support animal. We made small talk, jobs, hobbies, how the pandemic had turned us all into amateur bread bakers. But under every sentence there was an unspoken tension. For me, it was "you ghosted me, and I want to know why." For her, it seemed to be, "Can we please not talk about that awkward night?" Halfway through, I couldn't resist. "So, what happened back then?" I asked. She hesitated, sipped her latte, and said, "Honestly?" I panicked. I was seeing someone else and didn't know how to cancel without feeling like a jerk, so I just didn't. "That's one way to handle it," I said, my sarcasm leaking out like a slow faucet. She laughed. "Look, I'm not proud of it, but maybe we can start fresh." Starting fresh sounded simple. It wasn't. Claire was complicated. One day, she'd text me good morning with a sarcastic meme. The next, she'd vanish for 48 hours with a "sorry, busy week" message. I tried to play it cool, but the more I got to know her, the more I realized 2 things. 1, I liked her. Against all logic, I liked her. 2, winning her over was going to be like trying to convince a cat to take a bath. Our dates were a mix of genuine connection and emotional dodgeball. One night we sat in her car for hours talking about childhood, dreams, and how both of us had a weird fear of clowns. The next week, she bailed on dinner with a vague "something came up." It wasn't just the ghosting incident anymore, it was the pattern. She was like a song stuck in my head that kept skipping every 3rd line. After about a month of this emotional seesaw, I decided to confront her. We met at a park, the kind where couples walked their dogs, and I felt like everyone was silently judging me for not owning one. "I like you," I said, "but I can't keep guessing where I stand with you. One day you're in, the next you're gone. What's the deal?" She stared at the ground, then said, "I'm scared. Every time I start to like someone, I find a way to sabotage it. You're different, which makes it worse." I didn't know whether to feel flattered or exhausted. "So, what? You keep pulling away to protect yourself?" She nodded. It was at that moment I realized this wasn't just about winning her over. It was about convincing her that I wasn't going to disappear, even if she occasionally did. The next 2 months were a crash course in patience. I learned her tells, the way she'd go quiet when something bothered her, the way she'd send a random "thinking about you" text right after ghosting me for a day. I met her friends, who seemed pleasantly surprised I existed. "Wow, Claire brought a guy twice." I even endured a brunch with her sister, who grilled me like she was auditioning for a detective role. There were good days, like the night we stayed up until 3 a.m. building IKEA furniture and laughing at the instructions, and bad days, like when she canceled on me to have a quiet night, but then posted Instagram stories from a bar. Through it all, I kept showing up. Not because I was some saint, but because somewhere between the sarcasm and the mixed signals, I'd seen glimpses of the real Claire, the one who was vulnerable, funny, and surprisingly soft-hearted, One rainy Thursday night, she showed up at my door looking like she'd been crying. "Can I come in?" she asked. We sat on the couch, and she told me about a fight with her mom, about feeling like she was always disappointing people. "I thought you'd get tired of me and leave eventually," she said. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because the irony was too much. "Claire, you literally ghosted me for 4 years, and I still showed up. Do you really think I'm going anywhere?" She looked at me for a long moment, then said, "I think I'm starting to believe that." And for the first time since 2017, I felt like we were finally on the same page. The rest of that night, we just talked. No sarcasm shields, no hot and cold dance. It wasn't perfect, but it felt real. And that was the moment I realized winning her over wasn't going to be about some grand romantic gesture. It was going to be about persistence, patience, and showing up even when she expected me to vanish. Little did I know, the hardest part wasn't over, because getting Claire to open up was one thing. Keeping her in my life for good, that was going to take the kind of stubborn love people write songs about, or at least Reddit posts. I wish I could tell you that after that rainy Thursday night, everything with Claire became smooth sailing, that we rode off into the sunset with matching coffee mugs and a shared Netflix account. It wasn't like that. If anything, that night was less of a finish line and more of a "you are here" on a very long, very confusing map. We still argued. We still had our quiet nights that sometimes weren't quiet. She still occasionally vanished into what I started calling Claire time, where texts went unanswered and I was left wondering if she'd joined a secret witness protection program. But there was a difference now. She came back every time. And slowly, she came back faster. About 4 months into our official relationship, she hit me with the test, though at the time, I didn't realize it was a test. It started on a Friday morning. We had plans for dinner, but at noon she texted, "Claire, can we reschedule? I'm not feeling it tonight." I shrugged. People get tired. No big deal. But then Saturday passed without a word. Sunday too. By Monday, the old frustration started to bubble up. Was this the start of another disappearing act? Had I just been a temporary distraction again? I was tempted to text something sarcastic, like, "Hey, if you've been abducted by aliens, blink twice." But instead, I just sent, "Me, I'm here when you're ready to talk." That night, she showed up at my door. No makeup, messy bun, hoodie. She sat on the couch, pulling her sleeves over her hands like a kid bracing for bad news. "I wanted to see if you'd get mad," she admitted. "If you'd storm off or ignore me back. I wanted to know if you were serious about us." I couldn't help laughing, partly out of relief, partly because only Claire would treat emotional stability like a fire drill. "Claire," I said, "it only took me 4 years, a beard attempt, and several mental breakdowns to get you to agree to dinner. I'm not walking away because of one weird weekend." For the first time, I saw it in her eyes that she believed me. Not hoped, not suspected. Believed. From then on, something changed. The hot and cold pattern started to fade. She let me in more, her fears, her dreams, the embarrassing middle school phase where she wore a fedora unironically. We became a team in the way I'd always wanted us to be. Not perfect, but willing. Sarcasm became less of a shield and more of an inside joke. We still had our moments, like the time we tried to cook together and nearly set off the fire alarm, or when she mocked my inability to fold fitted sheets. "You have 2 degrees and you can't fold fabric?" But now, those moments ended in laughter. Instead of distance. Fast forward to the summer of 2023. I had the ring for 3 weeks before I worked up the courage. My plan was to propose on a hiking trail we both loved, scenic overlook, perfect light, all that romantic Pinterest nonsense. What actually happened was slightly different. We were halfway up the trail when it started raining. Not a gentle drizzle, The kind of downpour that soaks you instantly and makes you wonder if nature has a personal vendetta. I could have postponed, but something in me said, nope, this is us. Messy, unplanned, a little bit ridiculous. So there. We were drenched and laughing under a tree that was doing absolutely nothing to keep us dry when I pulled out the ring. Claire, I said, it took me 4 years, 1 ghosting incident, and a lot of tacos to get here. Will you marry me before we hit the decade mark? She laughed so hard she almost slipped in the mud. Then she said yes. A year later, we stood in front of family, friends, and at least 3 people I'm pretty sure were just there for the open bar. I looked at her in that white dress, the same girl who'd ghosted me in 2017. I looked at her in that white dress, the same girl who'd ghosted me in 2017. The same girl who'd tested me, doubted me, frustrated me, and all I could think was, it was worth it. When it was my turn to say vows, I couldn't resist the sarcasm. Claire, you once disappeared for 4 years and made me question my taste in tacos. But you've also made me laugh until my ribs hurt, listened to me rant about work, and taught me that love isn't about grand gestures. It's about showing up, even when it's inconvenient. I promise to keep showing up, every time. She smirked, and I swear I saw tears in her eyes. Or maybe it was just the light. It wasn't. Now whenever people ask how we met, I give them the short version. Tinder. She ghosted me. We got married, but the real version? That's the one I keep for nights when it's just the 2 of us. When we're sitting on the couch surrounded by snacks, and Netflix is still asking if we're watching. Because the truth is, I didn't win Claire. I just kept showing up until she realized she didn't have to run. And somewhere along the way, we stopped being 2 people playing emotional hide and seek and became something better. Partners. Against all reason, against the odds. And yes, against my own sanity. Claire still hates pineapple on pizza. I still order it just to annoy her. And every Friday night, we eat tacos, because apparently, some ghosts are worth chasing. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, take care and stay inspired.